Good afternoon. My name is Obed Arango, and this is Dialogues with the Immigrant Village, the weekly podcast that we record here in Revarte and that you can find in different platforms. Today, July 25th or 26th of 2025. It's here from the city of the brotherly love, Philadelphia, in the suburb of Norristown, Pennsylvania. Today, we are covering a painful but an urgent issue, an urgent matter. The arrest that took place on Wednesday, July 16, in the supermarket called Supergigante in West Norriton, where 14 workers were taken by ICE agents. This past week, I had the opportunity to speak with 5 relatives of 6 of the victims, as well as with several of the detained workers. On this episode, we'll share the voices and thoughts of the families that they asked me to share their thoughts anonymously, and we recorded. We have recordings of them, are in Spanish, but I will try to summarize or to translate as much as possible. Also, and this is for protection of their families and protections and their loved ones, to protect both the individuals that are in the currently jail facilities in Philadelphia, but also the loved ones left behind. Joining me with me today, we have Pastor Luis Amot, a leader, a pastor of Adulan Ministries, and a professional therapist who serves here in a regional mental health agency. Pastor Samot, he is the pastor, as I say, of Adulan Ministry, but in his secular job, he works as a therapist, professional therapist. Welcome, Pastor Samot, for
Good
being with us today.
afternoon. Good afternoon, Obed, and good afternoon, all our brothers and sisters that listen and watch us this afternoon in the podcast Dialogue of Immigrant Village. And for me, it's a pleasure and honor to be here and discuss about this topic that we suffering right now, because it's something that was very hard that we working since past week about what's happened in the Supergigante market. That friends, brothers, sisters, they were detained by ICE, and as a community, we have to work with them
Yeah.
to tell them that they're not alone, that we're going to help them in this process.
Totally, and that is why in this chapter we want to dedicate to see how we can work together, what support we can put together. Therefore, Pastor Samot, I learned that by first hand you received the news about this situation, and by first hand one of your congregants was detained.
It's correct.
Tell us how you found out and what has been the initial reaction of the congregation after understanding and knowing about this detention.
Yes, Obed. When I received the news about the about ICE detain my congregant, I have to cancel my worships. I have 3 worships during the week, and the worship of Wednesday night and Friday, July 18, I have to cancel because my community of faith, they feel fear, scared about what's happened during the week. And also supporting the wife and the tender daughters of my congregant, that this is something that they suffering since past week. Very terrible what's happened.
Yes, I can't really imagine, and I want to invite our listeners to think that the event that took place, it created scars, deep scars in the soul of the community and in the soul of the families. I cannot imagine what the kids, the teenagers, the young people, the adults are feeling. Personally, me as a kid, I didn't suffer this. Therefore, I cannot imagine what the kids are suffering. The most that we can do is to be sensitive, to show solidarity, to walk side to side to our community. And I want to ask you, Pastor Samot, your congregant who was detainee, what can you tell us about his character, his person?
Is a excellent father, excellent husband, responsible, a man that he gave his life for his family. And then that when I took him, they these daughters they feel alone, asking mother about where is my daddy. And last night we went to her house to pray with her, pray to with the daughters because they feel alone. And right now they are anxiety. They can't sleep at night because it's very terrible what's happened. This is a man that he give his life for his family all the time. The only support that this family have is my congregant.
I can't imagine what it means for this family to be divided, separated, for this wife to be right now to be the sustain of the daughters, and for these men to see the family from far, seeing this pain and separation. It breaks our hearts and it breaks our souls. And listening her yesterday, seeing her tears and listening her voice, and at the same time the tremendous strength that they display, allow us to think that as a community we have to value profoundly these two members of the community, these four members of the community that are example.
Yes, Obed. Well, last night I shared with the family, and I saw the pictures of the family. They girls smiling together with her dad, and now that he's not at home, they continually is asking to mother, "Mom, when my dad return?" And this is something that today we have to think, our brothers and sisters that watch us, about the suffering of not only my congregant family, all of the families that these members they relatives were taken by ice because they lost part of their life when they took it past weekend.
Exactly, and that interruption in the lives of their family, and that interruption of the lives of a family that was growing together, proposing together, two daughters that are growing so well, so happy. I saw them yesterday. They were here painting, expressing, smiling, full of love.
Yeah.
And this monstrous act, because I don't have another adjective than to go and take people, and take them out of their families. It made me sad, it made me upset to learn that, to see that on these days, on this time. And it causes trauma. And I want to ask you, Pastor, as a therapist, because I know that you are a pastor of the church, that you work and care for the spiritual life of the congregation, but in your secular work, you are also a therapist. You are a therapist, a professional therapist. What kind of effects this kind of trauma having children?
No, the trauma that I saw in the past since past week is something terrible. These kids suffer from insomnia. They can't sleep, sadness, depression, loss of appetite. Also, they have they can't eat because they suffering all the time. Sometimes panic attacks have these kids, and also in the case of my congregant, the mom, she has problem to sleep since past week. Also, she can eat. It's something stressful since past Wednesday when this painful experience start. And right now we working with emotional support, pastoral support, spiritual support, because this is something that they handle. We help them to handle it in this way because they can manage themselves for alone. Because what's happened past week since Wednesday, they can well, my congregant wife, the wife, they call us. We follow up her every single day since past Wednesday to support her. How you feel today? You know that we are here for you because we suffering also about what's happened. Because for us, it's also trauma because it's part of our family too.
Exactly, and then the impact into the community, no?
Also,
The impact into the community in my conversation with families and with kids all these days. Exactly, it has shown and they have expressed deprivation of sleeping, nights of insomnia, kids with the anxiety of losing their parents, the ripple effects of all this is taking a toll into the community. Uh, Last week, here at the community center, here at Zacate, we have a week of emotional health support. We had the health circle invited professionals of emotional health, and we invited full families, kids, parents, male. Sometimes men are hard to express or to open up, but we had this circle and we were able to share and to listen from each other and to recognize the pain that we are feeling at different level and different ages. And therefore, yes, and I want to tell this to our audience today. We are recording this also in English, as you know, because we know that our audience is not only Hispanic speakers, Latino community, but our audience also is the Anglo speaker. Those who wanted to know what being migrant is saying, what is sharing week by week. It has been requested by many of you, and we want to tell you that today, especially today, it's difficult to translate everything what we feel. Because to put in words the pain, to put in words the effects of the separation of parents with their kids and their wives and the family is something that we hear that happen in other times. We have seen movies where parents has been separated from their kids. We have seen movies maybe on the Second World War where the Gestapo went into homes and places and acted in an arbitrary way to pick people and to separate people. Perhaps we never imagined that pain will be repeated in that kind of tyranny again. But we are seeing it for who we are. For who we are. And in that sense, the effects that Pastor Samot has mentioned are totally real. The things that he has mentioned and that I have confirmed also talking to the community these days are totally present. Also at this moment, I want to honor this. I want to mention something. Through all these months, there has been many efforts by many members of the community, by organizations, by social leaders. There has been efforts that has been contributing to change. There has been a lot of press around lately. We have seen TV channels coming constantly to Norristown area. We have seen newspapers. We have seen people speaking front to the cameras or being on the newspapers. And but I want to talk this time not about those who has been actually on the front page. I want to talk about to honor the anonymous heroes and heroines in our community. those who do not appear in the media, who don't speak into microphones, but who carry out a quiet and invaluable mission. Two women from our community, who have asked me to remain anonymous, sprang into action the moment ICE made their move. They quickly contacted family members, traced each individual who has taken who has been taken, and they identified them by name and began a relentless push to ensure each one of them had legal representation. In fact, they even paid for legal interviews out of their own pockets. Thanks to them, we were able to meet and have conversations and organize direct support. This incredible woman have followed the cases of 6 of the detainees and have information on at least 11 of the 14. Although I can't not name them publicly, they deserve the applause and admiration, the love and care of an entire community too. They have my admiration and deep respect. And I wanted to mention this for all those who you know, because I knew two this week, but I am sure that there are many there also. Those anonymous heroes and heroines. I want to tell them that here we are to support your efforts also. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the conditions of the detention. During this week, we had the opportunity to talk. I had the opportunity to talk through the contacts of these two women, exemplary women, who were able to receive calls from the prison. And they gave me the opportunity to speak this week with 3 of the detainees. And I don't want to put the interviews, but however, to summarize some of the information that here we have. First, what we learned is that they are in the prison of Philadelphia, that is downtown, and the prison is already overcrowded. It's overcrowded. The cells have bunk beds, but it gets cold at night due to the humidity. One detainee has been sick, has the flu, has been coughing now for many days, with no access to medical care or medicine. Another has an ongoing stomach pain from the poor food quality. Emotionally, they are deeply worried about their families left behind, wives, children, and elderly mothers. To the question that I made to them, how are you emotionally? How do you feel? They answer, I am fine. Then I ask again, how are you feeling emotionally? And they will say, I am fine. The third time that I ask them, is there something that worries you? How do you feel? The pause that I made in the phone conversation speak volumes. That pause, even when they say that they are fine, is a testimony of the inner strength that they have, but also the deep need to feel abrazados, to feel embraced, to feel supported by their loved ones and by their community. And also their voices reflect the hardship that they have been accustomed to endure through these lives, through these years in this country, to be hard-working people. They have developed a strong character, solid character. But within, inside, there is a human being that is feeling and feeling deeply. To them, we send them a hug. Les enviamos un abrazo. We send them more love. And we want to tell them that there is a community here that is fighting for you. I had the opportunity to also talk to the family members who provided anonymous messages. Therefore, I will play only some of those messages, and after that I will summarize to you. These are in Spanish. We didn't have the time really to work the translation or to do the voiceover, but I will play just a little bit of testimony of their voices, and then I will summarize some of these audios to you. ¿Qué me puede decir de su familia?
Bueno, la persona a la cual el día de hoy vengo representando, ya que a base de todo este movimiento su voz fue callada, su voz no puede ser escuchada más que en una grabación, que hay personas que tienen que oír y vigilar cada palabra que dice. Yo mayormente lo describiría como una persona responsable con su trabajo, tranquila, honesta, que pues básicamente salió de un pueblo para poder dar y alimentar a su familia, la cual no solo interviene a sus hijos, sino a su madre, hermanos, los cuales básicamente no cuentan con los recursos para poder llevar una calidad de vida armoniosa, porque las preocupaciones, incluso el hambre muchas veces los detiene a estar con una calidad de vida baja. Y me parece todo esto injusto porque básicamente ellos iban solo al gigante a trabajar, a poder prestar su servicio por un sueldo que no era ni siquiera, para decirlo, qué grandioso sueldo, que podía abastecer muchas necesidades o también darnos la vida de lujo. Fue un sueldo que pues él apreciaba, porque todo migrante, mientras se nos divide la moneda, nos sentimos tan felices, pero olvidamos que acá también tenemos gastos, tenemos cosas que pagar, y eso sí es en dólares. Entonces él simplemente fue a trabajar como cada mañana, y que lo arresten sin derecho a hablar, sin derecho a defenderse, con una calidad de vida baja adentro. Me parece muy injusto que le hagan esto en estos momentos. Hubo no solo una familia acá quebrada, que es de mi parte, sino hubo familia en el país el que también está quebrado por su retención, porque no está libre, no. Lo hundieron, lo retuvieron por un delito llamado trabajo. Es incoherente que solo en un momento en que pudimos darles un puente, construirles tantas cosas hermosas acá en los Estados Unidos, y después nos desechen como si nosotros prácticamente no fuéramos seres humanos, sino todos fuéramos delincuentes. No es nada favorable. Yo solo quiero decirles que pues hoy fue nuestro caso. Créeme que en algún momento yo fui de esas personas que dije, no nos va a pasar porque estamos tratando de cuidarnos, pero uno nunca sabe a quién le toca mañana. No importa, esto ya no es de que tú traes o no traes documentos, sino hablas español, eres latino, retenido. Ya no estamos hablando de que eres o no eres americano, basta, es discriminación prácticamente con todo lo que estamos viendo.
The deep thoughts that were shared yesterday in summary tell us two ideas that I want to mention. She says, my family member was a hard-working person, a very hard-working person, whose crime was to be a worker. The crime was to work, was to be a productive member of the community, was to be someone who get up every day early to work, to provide for his family, but also to provide for those beyond. And she mentions the happiness that the immigrants feel when they send the remittances and see that the families in the other side can receive it and they can multiply that. But they recognize that in this side the person has to work so hard because also has to pay bills in dollars. And she mentions at the end this is no longer about papers or no papers, documents or no documents. It has to do also with the looks for who we are, for our identity. Detaining people for the race profiling. The deep thoughts and the feeling and the eloquence and the good articulation of this family member, I don't make justice in the translation or even in the spirit when she was sharing to us. Let me share to you another one.
Para ayudarnos allá en México. Ya no sé qué decir.
¿Qué nos puede platicar de su hijo? Díganos alguna memoria que tiene de él.
Pues que es bueno, es trabajador. Y se vino pues para ayudarnos allá en México. Ya no sé qué decir.
This interview, it breaks my heart. It makes me think in my own mother, who always her concern for her kids was present. I don't have my mother anymore, but it reminds me the love of my mother. And I cannot tell the pain. I cannot tell the feeling of this mother and grandmother feeling for the son that has been also taken and be separated. The not knowing what to say, it says everything. It says everything. He's a good son. He's a good son.
No hay mucha forma que puedo describir a mi esposo, pero él es un buen padre, un estupendo padre, porque siempre está tratando de que sus hijas estén bien, que le den que tengan lo que necesitan, lo que él no tuvo. Y yo y él siempre pasa por algo duro, pero él mejor echa los ojos por uno, que no se preocupa por eso, me dice que está bien. Es lo que lo hace bien a él, lo hace una persona tranquila, trabajadora, ¿no? Que podemos siempre echar la mano. Ay, cuando podemos echamos la mano a las personas. Pero personas siempre ha sido una... En vez de pensar en sí mismo, él piensa en los demás. Yo que él se siente cansado, o no se siente bien, hasta cuando está enfermo siempre está tratando de hacer las cosas más fácil para uno, sus hijas, yo, su esposa. Pero yo tengo fe que todo va a salir bien, que la decisión que sea de Dios, yo sé que nos va a guiar, y es lo único que me está manteniendo sane, en un lugar estable, mi fe. Estoy confiada.
This description of the husband, even when Pastor Samot was able to describe the character of this man, the description that the wife does is exceptional. Good father. And I cannot tell how much he's missed at the table, eating dinner, or in the morning, sharing the breakfast, or on Sundays going for a walk, or preparing themselves to go to service. I cannot tell what it means for this wife to be alone without her partner. The pain of the separations of the families is something that we don't want for no one. No one should suffer this kind of separation. When you are listening to us today, we want that your mind, that your heart, it can be also transformed in actions. If you are a lawyer, we need your support. We need the support of lawyers who can work for our community. If it's pro bonus, better. But if it's with a charge, which is of course honorable because that is your profession, give us a good price. Because our community needs that. Having said that, we identify here in Secate some of those needs. But before to go there, I want to ask you, Pastor Samuel, what is your reaction to these interviews?
When you hear these interviews, and yesterday that we have the time to share with the families, because not only these two testimonies, all of them was a painful time, a worry, concern about what's happened with these families, that they are feeling lost because their relatives is detained by ICE, and right now they don't have they feeling that they don't have hope with them. But we are here to support our families. We are here to help them. And the people that hear and watch us this afternoon, this is the message that we want to share. That we need your help to support our families, and we and you, everybody, our brothers and sisters that hear us and watch us, you have to raise your voice to support your people in your communities, because we have to send a message that they don't alone. They are not alone right now. We have people, a community that will support them.
Yeah. Thank you, Pastor. In the conversation yesterday with the families, we identified the following needs: legal representation, rent support, food assistance. So together with them and talking to them, we agree in a fundraising plan, in a fundraising campaign, in an agreement with all of them, in the conversation to all of them how to do it, and what will be the mechanism of doing this, with commitment, transparency, and the ways to do it in a professional way. Secate, Centro de Cultura, Arte, Trabajo, Educación, Secate, is a 501c3 organization. It's a non-profit organization that we can receive donations. The idea is that we can receive direct donations through GiveBooter, which is a platform for non-profits, and is the platform that we use. The goal that we have is $26,000. $20,000 going toward legal services, and $6,000 towards other supports. In this case, it will be distributed $1,000 for each family. Donations will be accepted exclusively on this campaign via GiveBooter for now. If this is expanded to other platforms, only through this podcast we will announce it, and only here. Why? Because we want to prevent anyone from fraudulently collecting money in the name of this specific campaign. The only way that we'll collect money will be through this. And if you have a group that collect money and you want to donate it, donate it into the account of give order that we will send and we'll put on this podcast and in this post. And we'll continue communicating in all the social networks. Also, once that the funding or whatever funding we get, it will be oversight by Adulam Church and Pastor Luis Amot, and also for a well-known community ally that the families met yesterday. This is a woman who is an activist, who is respected by the community, who has been walking also side to side, but she wanted to remain anonymous. She will be also witness of the distribution and the use of the funding for the payment of the legal services and also for the distribution of aid. Why are we doing it in this way? Because we believe that professionalism, transparency, and verification are essential. Our immigrant and Latino communities across the U.S. are facing similar stories. This is only one town. Norristown is Norriton, West Norriton, Philadelphia is only one region of the whole country. There are many other communities across the United States that are exactly suffering the same situation. And I'm sure that there are many other leaders and pastors and leaders of many kind and anonymous heroes and heroines that are working towards. And their efforts should be respected. The efforts to fundraise, it should not fall into fraudulent efforts. That's why it's important always to do it in a professional way. At Secate, we believe that all processes and information must be verifiable. In the journalism, we are very serious in how we do it. Every information that we present has been verified, and we have ways to support the information. We encourage everyone not to inflate data, not to exaggerate data. That doesn't help, because only brings panic and only brings misinformation. To inform what has a backup data is so important. That is the professionalism and truth that journalism should have. As many of you know me, I am professor. I teach at the University of Pennsylvania. My career is journalism and media production, communications, and I am very serious in how this is developed. Therefore, I would like to close this transmission with some closing thoughts. Pastor Samot, any final words?
My final thoughts this afternoon is that we have to move to action of it.
Yeah.
We can still sitting, watching outside, watching what's happened with the brothers and sisters. We have to move in action right now. And the brothers and sisters that hear us and watch us this afternoon, this is the message that we want to send this afternoon. Together, we have to fight for our people. God bless.
Well said, Pastor. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for being here today,
Thank you.
Pastor Samot. And also, I want to give thank you for the families, for their courage to share their thoughts, their testimonies. And if there is a possibility that our brothers that has been in detention can listen, we send you a hug, we send you an abrazo. Here your community is with you. From the city of the brotherly love, Philadelphia, in the town, in the suburb of Norristown, I say goodbye. Muchas gracias. Until the next time.